Hello and welcome. This is Support for Stressful Times, and I'm Ann Weiser Cornell. Still stressful, the times. And I've noticed that sometimes I get more tired. Sometimes I get more restless. I think that has to do with the whole environment we live in. And, I want to talk today about environment because this is a wonderful story. My dear teaching partner, Barbara McGavin, recently taught a workshop, a 4-day workshop in the UK on a piece of our work that we call self-in-presence, which is, well, I'll tell you more about what self-in-presence is. But the point of my story is that when Barbara was standing up in a large group and telling the people there what they could expect from her workshop, she said, "This is about creating the environment where change happens naturally and effortlessly." And a lot of people got excited about that. Wouldn't like they were saying, "I'll take some of that." But in creating the environment, of course, that's an inner environment where change happens naturally and effortlessly. Like, wow, wouldn't that be great? So self-in-presence is something I talk about a lot in these webinars. Maybe not necessarily using the term self-in-presence, but basically it's being able to turn toward what you're feeling, like an inner relationship. And the difference between I'm stressed, I'm so stressed, I'm stressed, right? Versus I am sensing something in me is really stressed. You could try that right now, yeah? That is just a little moment here together, right? So make a sentence with 3 words about something stressful you're feeling or you've been feeling recently. So I am upset, I am worried, I feel sad. 3-word sentence. Give it a little time for people to find that sentence. I am upset, I am anxious, I feel angry. That happens to me when I pay attention to the national news in my country. Sometimes I feel angry. Okay, got your 3-word sentence. Now, change your sentence to something in me. Something in me feels, something in me is, something in me is angry. Yeah, when I watch the news, I can tell something in me is angry. Or when it's been a long day and too much has been happening, something in me is frazzled. Nice word, frazzled. Okay, so change your 3-word sentence to is it a 5-word sentence? Something in me is, yeah, 5-word sentence. Something in me is, and use the same word. Notice what happens. Most people notice a difference. You can tell me if you want to. Now, make another change in the sentence. Add 2 more words, or it's maybe 3 words. I am sensing. Put that at the start of your sentence. I'm sensing something in me getting angry when I see the news. I just felt a little relief when I said that. I am sensing, right? So, in that sentence, I am sensing something in me is angry, stressed, upset, worried. Self-in-presence is the I. And I love linguistics, right? I love language. If you look at the sentence, I am stressed, that I is the one who is stressed. But if you change your sentence to, I am sensing something in me is stressed, the I has become bigger. You're the bigger one now, right? Well, so to go on to the story about Barbara McGavin, what she was saying to this group of people is, we can show you how to become. You can become the environment of change. Even more so, it's the environment where change happens naturally and effortlessly. And one thing I've noticed when I hear about other methods that people use for change and changing their lives, a lot of them have to do with doing stuff to ourselves, moving things around, finding alternative ways of thinking, explaining that you don't have to feel that way. It's okay to let it go. It all seems like it's manipulative. It's doing stuff too. Now, far be it from me to criticize any other method because obviously they're helpful. I'm just saying I'm a big fan of our method, inner relationship focusing, because all you do is create the environment of change, and then change happens naturally and effortlessly. And that somehow that seems right, organic, uh, respectful, kind. Love all those things. Talk to me. Does somebody have a comment? Here's Andrea. I'm sensing something in me is anxious about my country. Yet at the same time, I'm sensing something in me that's feeling hopeful and happy about my improving health. I'm happy about that too, Andrea. And another thing that's nice about this way of approaching ourselves is we can have more than one feeling at the same time. What a revelation. Okay, I'm getting some appreciation in the chats. And I was thinking as I was preparing to talk to you today, don't we want our lives to change somehow? This is somehow about change. And there have been times in my life when I felt pretty stuck. And I yearned for change and didn't know how to help it happen. So if we've got a secret that helps change happen effortlessly, we'd be drawn to that. Yeah. Mary writes, it feels like letting go of self-will. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but if you mean willpower, like I can make this happen, I totally agree with you. Because actually, from my point of view, the one that says I can make this happen is pretty powerless. I've never been able to get myself to be creative. For example, you need to be creative now. That's not where creativity comes from. Yes, Mark agrees with me. The shift is inviting openness and not fixing skill or smarts. And Violet says, I really appreciate relating with the body and sensations versus power over, force, or manipulating into change. And it makes a big difference when emotions feel heard and okay to be present. Ah, you're singing my song. Yeah. So another thing we can say about what we're doing here is acceptance of what is with kind attention. So what do you do when you feel some suffering inside yourself? Something hurts. Something's carrying a heaviness, a worry, a concern. Do you try to talk yourself out of it? You don't have to worry about that. Probably. Many people do. I do. But we know it doesn't actually work. Do you try to get rid of that feeling? Move away from it, move it away. I wouldn't do that. Because one of my favorite quotes from Eugene Gendlin, the guy who brought us focusing, he said, "What is not felt remains the same." If we cover something up, if we don't allow ourselves to feel how we feel, that is like a stasis where no change is possible. It's like putting some kind of time freeze on it. It won't change in there. And he goes on to say, so what is not felt remains the same. When it is felt, it changes. And I believe that what he means by that is when it is felt awarely as self in presence, when we feel what's here. And then change happens effortlessly and naturally. Right. Lily writes, self in presence continues to be transformative for me. Barbara said that cultivating self in presence is a 24/7 practice, and my inner environment continues to feel safer, warmer, and friendlier. Ah, I'm so glad to hear that, Lily. And Lorena writes, I think naming, acknowledging what's happening inside without attaching ourselves to the stuck feeling supports me in recognizing rather than running from the bad feeling. Exactly. And so this shift in the point of attention, from where am I experiencing my feelings? In what way? How? In other words, the environment of attention allows so much else to happen. And basically, it involves a kind of trust that when these feelings are allowed to be as they are, they take their next steps of change into further living. Many of you may be getting my weekly tips that comes in the email every Wednesday. And today I wrote about mourning, grieving. Grieving, for example, is a whole set of body experiences and feelings that are natural. And if we try to stop them, cut them off, things don't go well. But if we create an environment where that process can happen, it happens and it leads to something. It leads to something. Alessandrina writes, I've been experimenting with giving the space the feeling needs. Can I expand on that topic? Actually, why don't we do that kind of together right now? Let's do that together right now as an experiment. So we'd start by being aware of this present moment and let awareness come to your body. If you feel like closing your eyes, that might be a way to shut down distraction and really feel your body from the inside. You might start by being aware of your feet and what they're touching. And being aware of your seat, what's touching your buttocks, right? Your buttocks touching the chair or whatever you're sitting on, or you might be lying down or standing. That's all okay. Be aware of what's contacting what's beneath you. Be aware of your breath. Hello, breath. Notice you don't have to change your breath. When you bring awareness to your breath, you just feel your breath. And let awareness come inward. into the inner area of the body, sensing your throat, your chest, your stomach, and even lower if you like. How are you right now? In the old days, if someone asked me how I was, I would just say, fine, and I wouldn't check. You can tell a person who knows focusing because when you ask how they are, they say, just give me a moment. So we're taking a moment right now. How are you? And don't answer. Just wait. How is it to be you? How is it to be alive? What inside you is calling for attention? Any of those invitations might work. Maybe the feeling you found earlier. Something in me is upset, anxious, worried. Maybe that's here now. And feel it in your body. How does it feel in your body now? That. For some people, that's really easy. Yeah, there's tension in my body. Others, they know they're anxious, but the body feels blank. So there's a little extra time that might be needed sometimes. But I assure you, if you are feeling it, your body's feeling it. It just might surprise you. It might not be where you thought it would be. It might not feel like you thought it would feel, but there's something there. And it might be subtle. I remember someone who told me once, I don't feel anything in my body except this little quivery, shaky in my upper chest. I love what comes after the I don't feel anything except. So you're feeling something, right? And you could describe it a bit. And you could also say hello to it. I'm saying hello to this. It's a atmosphere of acceptance that comes with hello. Notice what hello feels like. It often feels like it's okay that it's here. I'm saying hello. If I say hello to you, it's like I'm saying, welcome. It's okay that you're here. When you feel tightness, tension, anxiety, stressful feelings, what's the reaction to that? That's what we're getting interested in today. Stress in my chest, I don't like it. I need to worry about why it's there. What's wrong with me that I'm feeling that right now? Stress in my chest, hello. Hello, I know you're there. And maybe hello to something in me that doesn't like it. So it's a very wide, accepting space. Everything is accepted. Because if you find something in you that doesn't accept what you're feeling, then you can accept that. Magic, huh? So all we're doing in this little process together is finding something in the body, practicing, giving it space by saying hello. I know you're there. So can you feel? Notice if you can feel the space that you are, the space that you are. You are the space. That's exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so you might thank your body, thank your process, although If you want to keep going, that's okay with me. Alessandrina writes, I'm enjoying what you're saying. It reminds me of what a sage once said, be kind to yourself when your toe hurts. Yeah, yeah. Be kind to your whole self and be kind to your toe. And kindness. Wouldn't it be great? Let's have a revolution of kindness. More kindness in the world. And it has to start with ourselves. When I was growing up, there was this concept that if you were kind to yourself, you were selfish. You had to be kind to others in order to be a good person. I don't I don't believe that. I don't believe that's the case. I think that concept of selfishness makes no sense. It's like there's only so much kindness, so you have to give it to others instead of keeping it for yourself. No, kindness multiplies. Kind to yourself includes kind to others. The kinder you are to yourself, the easier it is to be kind to others. Don't you think that's right? And when you say, yeah, someone's giving me a thumbs up. When you are kind to yourself, it causes you to notice that there are parts of you that are not kind to you. Have you noticed that too? People going through their day and suddenly or slowly or in some way hearing a voice or getting a feeling, I'm doing this wrong, I'm going to fail, I'm not as good as other people. No, that's a part and it needs a hello. But what helps say hello to a part like that is to assume that it is anxious. And actually, I found this to be true 100% of the time. A criticizing inner part is actually anxious. It's doing that kind of criticizing because of anxiety. And so, although it might be difficult to say to a criticizing part, I hear what you're saying, it's quite possible to say to it, I guess you might be feeling anxious, huh? And that helps too. Elizabeth writes in the chat, does it help to give names to parts that reappear? I don't find that it helps, no. We use the language of parts. They're pretty popular these days. But our focusing position on parts is a little different. We believe that parts are temporary. They arise and fall like waves in the ocean. Parts come in response to some kind of stuckness or stoppage in life. And that's why they keep, apparently, the same part appears. But let's not treat it as if it's the same. Let's encounter what we feel freshly. I love doing that. In fact, it's also a great way to work with chronic pain. So I'm luckily I'm not a person who suffers from chronic pain, and I have a lot of empathy for people who do. That's really a tough thing to go through. But one thing I know helps with that is to treat the pain as if you had not felt it before. I'm sensing it freshly, as if I'd never felt it before. And the same is true of what feel like repetitive parts. It's pretty common to have the name the inner critic for the voice that says, you're not good enough, you're going to fail, and so on. I'm guilty of that too. It's so easy to say this is your inner critic. But what if we change our language and instead say something that is criticizing right now? I think it gives more freedom to the process itself to change. And I think emotions and our emotional life is always in a natural process of change. It's surprising when things don't change. It happens, right? So sometimes we get what feel like the same feelings over and over. But what if we approach each one freshly in the moment? This is what's here now. So I started by talking about the environment of change, the environment in which change can happen naturally and effortlessly. And we've been talking about how to do that by saying things to yourself like, I am sensing, something in me feels, and by saying hello to what we're feeling there. And when you are the one who says, I am sensing, instead of I am upset, that's a movement into self in presence. It's all still you. But from that, it feels bigger, more spacious, more capable of compassion and kindness. And maybe we could even live from there. Maybe we could approach our relationships with curiosity instead of fighting or getting defensive. Well, it's an aspirational goal. I've never achieved it completely myself, but it's worth thinking about. Yeah. So we're near the end of our time, and that's the message I want to leave with you. Number one, be kind to yourself. Number two, be that space that can be with whatever's inside you, because that is the environment in which change happens. Change happens because whatever you're with, wants to change, not because it's being scolded or made wrong or told to change. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for people writing in the chat. Mary says, what a relief to just encounter parts without needing to categorize them. Yes. This is what's here right now. That's what we know. And Mark says, I now consider myself an environmentalist, pointing to how this is about the environment of change. Oh, so lovely. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next month.